What's up, y'all? I'm AJ Simmons, founder of the Clean Biz Network and also founder of Calculated Clean, which is a subsidiary of Clean Biz Network. Both are software companies. And today, I'm going to do my best to speak up loud enough for y'all to hear me. I am on the interstate, but I'm stuck in traffic, so it shouldn't be too loud right now. But anyway, I decided, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to tell my whole story again because it's been years since I told it. For those who don't know, I've been on YouTube since 2014 giving out free game. And I just like, you know what? Most of y'all don't even know exactly like my whole deal. So I just want to kind of explain it because I literally started with absolutely nothing, got on YouTube and documented my whole rise from nothing to something, basically. With two successful software companies, a coaching company. Clean Biz Network is a coaching and software company, and then Calculated Clean is just a software company. And so it's like, okay, well, how did this guy, from the hood, started with nothing. Nobody believed in him. No, I didn't have no entrepreneur parents. I didn't come from money. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do I do it? So let's just start all the way from the beginning, y'all. And I'm gonna try to keep it clean and business related because that's what this channel is mostly about. So I'll start from the very beginning, which was probably around about 20 when I graduated high school in 2006. So around about '06 is when I first got into the cleaning industry. And me, my homeboy, my big brother Monte, as well as my big brother Tonio, all of us worked for this guy named Pops. And rest in peace to my brother Monte. He was the one who put us all on the Pops. But Pops had a cleaning franchise with Janet King, right? And so when Pops hired us, I was intrigued because I didn't know, I never seen a black guy own a company that wasn't a lawn care company. I did see black people have lawn care companies plenty of times. But I never seen nobody have like an actual cleaning company that cleaned businesses before. And he wrote us checks. And I was like, damn, he actually got checks. Like we got a paycheck just like if I worked at, one of these other corporations. So it intrigued me. And I asked Pops, and I was like 17 at the time. And today I'm 35, by the way. This is what, March 2024. So, and I'll be 36 next month in April. So if you do 35 minus 19, that'll tell you, actually minus 17, that'll tell you I've been in this industry for what, 17 years, I think? I can't even do 17 plus 17. But anyway, so I've been in this industry for a long time. All right. And so um, I'm still mad about the fact I don't know what that is, right? What's 7 plus 7? 7 plus 7 is 34. Okay, but so something like that. But anyway, I've been in the industry for a long, long time. So anyway, um, that's when I first started. Then I actually started once I talked to Pops and I seen Pops. He intrigued me because I'm like, I ain't know, I never seen a black guy run his own company, employ other people. He had this high-rise condo downtown Portsmouth. He was driving this Audi, which I never knew. I ain't know nobody with no Audi other than him. And I mean, he got the girls. He seemed like he was living a good life. So I was like, damn. So I asked him one day. I was like, okay, what I got to do this? Like, what does it take? Do I got to go to college, get a degree? He was like, no, you don't need no degree, none of that. All you got to do is invest your money. I was like, what? So you mean tell me all I gotta do is come with some money and they'll let me get it? He was like, yeah, that's it. They're gonna train you how to do everything. I said, bet. So that's what I did. It took me 2 years. I had to finish school. I went ahead waited to the military because I got in some legal trouble, and the only way I could get out of it was to do these X amount of hours of probation, which I didn't do the hours of probation. So I hurry up and ran into the military. But I had a plan when I went into the military. I went to the Army National Guard, and so back then they was giving out enlistment bonuses. And so I knew that, all right, man, once I get my bonus, I'm going to buy me a cleaning franchise like Pops did. And so that's basically what I did. I went away, I went to boot camp, they put me in AIT, did all of that. It took me a while. I was almost been going for like I think like 6 or 9 months. I ended up being gone for like a year and a half because I kept getting in trouble. And eventually I finally figured out that the only way I'm gonna get back home is if I just cooperate. So let me just cooperate. You know what I mean? So no. That's what happened. I was supposed to be gone for 6 months. I ended up being gone for 9 because I kept getting in trouble. That's what it was. Okay. But anyway, so get back. I'm waiting for my money because they don't just instantly give you the bonus. You got to finish the school and the boot camp and all of that first. So I'm waiting probably about a month, maybe 2 months before my money hit for the bonus or whatever, right? For getting to the military. It finally hit. First thing I did was I scheduled the interviews with all of the different franchises in my area. Went out there, met with them. I decided to buy, and I was gonna go with Coverall. Now I could have just went with Janet King, could possibly with Janet King. That's what I knew, right? But I said no. I done seen enough movies where people, sign the fine print without reading the fine print. I'm not gonna do that. So I decided that Coverall was the best deal for me. I bought in with Coverall at 19 years old. I was an actual business owner at 19, y'all. Own my own cleaning franchise with Coverall Cleaning Concepts. And so what ended up happening was I was trash as a cleaner. They didn't really have like a real good hands-on cleaning training program, and so it didn't go that well for me. So I got out there. The first contract I got, it was the Dr. Vogel office out of Virginia Beach. Nice contract. I think it paid like I want to say it paid like $2,000 a month, and it was a medical. It was like a pediatric facility, and so I was doing horrible in that facility. But since I've always been good with words, you know what I mean. I look people in the eye. I smile. I'm kind, right? And so the lady, even though I was trash at cleaning, Dr. Vogel, she liked me. And so she would always just complain to Coverall, but she would let them know she don't want to change. Because when I got the contract, by the way, it was a problem contract when I got. They had already had this contract, and several other cleaning franchise owners were already in that contract anyway. So by the time I got into it, it was kind of a mess to begin with. But like I said, I was a trash cleaner regardless. So either way, they was gonna complain. Back then, I did not know what I was doing. Like when we worked for Pops, Pops didn't really. It's like he pick he told my boy Monte everything, but then like me and my boy Tonio and the rest of us, he just pretty much go vacuum. You know what I mean? And take care of this one section right here. Don't do nothing else. Like he didn't really teach us how to clean the whole building. At least he didn't teach me that. So when I got my own, I really didn't know what I was doing. And so I would do the basic dump trash. I would forget some of the trash can. The stupid stuff in the beginning that you just make as you learn it, right? And so uh, she would complain, but she would tell them to train me. Like, don't get rid of me, train me. And so I kept that for a while, but then I felt like, you know what, I'm going to end up losing this contract. Plus, it's way out here in Virginia Beach. I'm from Portsmouth. I lived in Portsmouth at the time. And so, Portsmouth, Virginia, for those who don't know. And so, I was like, you know what, I need some closer accounts. So I found another franchise owner that was in there, traded that one big medical account for like four of her smaller accounts that were like 2 and 3 times a week or whatever. And so I traded it with that lady. I forgot her name, but shout out to her. Unfortunately, she ended up losing that contract a little bit soon after because it was just the doctor didn't want to accept it anymore. But I was able to save myself by spreading it out because I knew like, well, hell, if I get 4 small ones, at least if I lose one, I still got some left. So I was already thinking ahead because I kind of felt like with all of the complaints I was getting, I was gonna lose them. But anyway, fast forward, and I had that cleaning franchise. I held on to it for about 3 years. Somehow, some way, I held on to it for about 3 years. Now, in the midst of having that franchise, I also got an opportunity to start a barbershop. So one of the franchise owners that I met during that time, I did a lot of subcontracting for her. Shout out Ms. Madonna Grace. And she was the one who taught me the whole concept of subcontracting in the first place. That's why I was able to get on YouTube way back then and tell the whole world about it. Now that's all everybody else talk about is subcontracting. But back then, I was the only one I knew that was doing it. But anyway, so she had this building that she owned one day, and she sent me over to this building. It was a barbershop at the bottom on the storefront. It was a storage unit on the back part, and then it was 2 apartments upstairs, residential apartments upstairs. And so she owned that whole building. And one day she sent me over there, and she was like, I need this buffer machine out there. Since you by the way, can you drop by there, pick it up for me, and drop it off at one of the buildings that I was subcontracting for her? And I said, yeah. So when I went to pick up the buffer for her from her storage, I looked inside the glass inside the front. And I saw that whole barbershop, nice chairs, everything just ready to go. But nobody was in it. It was closed. So I asked her about it. I said, what are you doing with that down there? Is that like you own a barbershop too? And she was like, yeah, well, I own one, but it's not really because it ain't doing that. Like, I don't make any money. It's not open because I don't know any licensed barbers that can put their license in there, and I'm not one. And I don't want to cut hair. She just wanted to rent the booths out. So that sparked an idea in my head. So I went home that very same night, hopped on Microsoft Word. By the way, I had no money into my name. I think I probably had like $200 to my name at that time, at that very moment. And I went home, typed up a business plan. All I did was go on Google how to type up a business plan. And I was like, you know what? As a matter of fact, I had done one before because I made a business plan when I started my first cleaning company, that franchise I was talking about. And so I just made one for the barbershop. And I explained to her how, okay, I just basically, I thought of all the reasons why she should rent that barbershop to me with the equipment included. sold her on it. I submitted it to her, I emailed it to her, and I told her, let me know what she think. Then she was like, okay, I like it. Because I show her how instead of that building, just that barbershop just sitting there, because see, I was smart enough to know what she got to be paying mortgage on this thing. So she needs some income coming in from it. So if I just take over the business, get some barbers in there, and I knew a barber. Shout out to Uncle Paul. My Uncle Paul, he was a licensed barber, and I remember that. Even though I didn't talk to Uncle Paul for years, right? By that time, I was grown, and you know, as you get older, you teenager, you don't talk to certain relatives that often. You know what I mean? So, but I just thought of him at that time when I needed somebody, and I got resourceful. And I reached out to Uncle Paul, asked him would he just put his license in there for me. He wasn't really an active barber anymore, but he always kept his license renewed. So he agreed to do that. And so I put together that plan. She said she would do it, but she said she can't do it for just $0 down. And I was like, well, I ain't got nothing. She said, well, at least give me $100 good faith deposit, just so we can know we're doing something. And I said, all right, bet. So I gave her $100, even though I barely had nothing. I gave her that $100, and the next thing you know, I was in business. I went and got an LLC eventually. I eventually got a business license. We eventually got the water turned on the right way because when we started off, we went in and did it ourselves, right? I knew some people that know how to do that type of stuff, right? And we made it happen. We turned the lights on. I got my whole family. Shout out to the family who came out and helped us paint the inside. Like we just recruited everybody. I barely had enough to afford to paint, but I took every last penny I had, ran the Lowe's, and we painted it ourselves and made it a whole little thing. We found this big ass piece of wood in the back of her storage. We made that our sign. It was white, and we just painted Styles Incorporated on it, and that was the name of my barbershop, Styles Incorporated. Which fun fact, that was gonna be my son's name too, and I wanted to pass that barbershop to him. I was gonna name him Styles, but we ended up going and just naming him after me anyway. But but yeah, so that's business number two, and that was in 2020. So here I am, a 21, 22 year old. I got a barbershop, and I got I said that was in 2020. I'm tripping. That was in 2010. Yeah, that was in 2010, either '09 or 2010. But anyway, so here I am, this little 21, 22 year old with a barbershop and a cleaning company. They both weren't doing very well. The barbershop was actually booming. The problem was I was too nice and I wasn't charging the roof rent the way I wasn't enforcing it, right? And I would charge my barbers and stylists a certain amount every week that they had to pay for booth rent, but they would always come with a sob story. They were all older than me too. And I respect my elders, so I would always fall for it. You know what I mean? And it was what it was. I wasn't running the business the way it was supposed to be run. So the barbershop failed. Then I was stuck with just to clean the business again. That failed. Then I was back to the working world again. But in the meantime, while I would get like regular jobs, I would also still always subcontract for different cleaning franchise owners that I had kept in contact with after I got out of the business, right? So for this whole time, all the way up until about 2014, right? Then I got on YouTube in 2014 again. I'm working at the shipyard. Finally got a good, decent job because I worked at different temp service jobs, low paying wage jobs. You name it, I pretty much done it other than fast food. You know what I mean? So from construction to fire watch to, all those labor ready shits where you get up first thing in the morning, you got to be the first one there or else you don't work that day. I wake up at 3 in the morning, walk from Portsmouth to, the other side of Portsmouth or find a way from Portsmouth to get over to Norfolk to one of these temp services, right? And you try to be the first one there so you can get some work that day. So I done all that type of stuff, right? While also I'm subcontracting with the cleaning stuff, right? And so fast forward 2014, by that time I finally got a good job working for the government. I got into the Norfolk Naval Shipyard Apprenticeship Program. And so that was the most money I had ever made at the time. When I first got hired, the starting pay was like $12 and some change, which is excellent back then for me. That was the most I had ever made up until that point. Then after I think like the first 6 months, it jumped up to 16, 14. Then after that, it jumped to 16, then it jumped up to 20 something, and all that just kept going, right? And so the way the program was designed was it was a 4-year apprentice program. After your 4th year, you basically slated as an apprentice graduate to be like a supervisor or upper level management, etc. in the yard. Okay, so you design and groom to be leadership once you finish that program. Well, what happened with me was while I was in that barbershop, I was always me. I'm still gonna try to find me another business, right? And so I started another business. It was another barbershop, and I partnered with my boy Ike. Shout out to Big Ike. we partnered because I found another opportunity. I was going to a barbershop and I found this barbershop that it only had one barber and it looked like they were struggling. And I just asked the guy, I was like, no, he said it to me. I was already thinking about it anyway, wondering how I could take it over. And then one day he randomly said to me, he was like, hey man, take my number because I might not be here no more. And I said, why? He said, we both be closing down, but I don't know what the owner doing. So at the time I thought it was his shop. I didn't know. So apparently it was a lady doing what I used to do, which was she wasn't a barber or a stylist. She was just renting out the booths. I said, well, let me get her number. Let me talk to her and let's see if I can work something out. So that's exactly what I did. I called the lady, negotiated her. I didn't know her at all. So this was a lot different than the first time I did it. The first time I did it, I had a little leverage because I knew the lady and we did business before together. This new one, this was like an internal test for me to show that I'm a good negotiator. I'm a good businessman, and I'm not just lucky. I'm able to do this stuff that I'm doing because I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I negotiated with the lady, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll do it, but you need to talk to the building owner and see if he'll do it." Talk to the building owner, cool as a fan, Mr. Tony, and he was able to help me out. He even helped me out, helped me and my guy Ike out with certain ideas that we had. We negotiated a deal with him, and he let us get on a payment plan for the monthly deposit, so we didn't have to come with everything up front because he knew that we also had to pay the lady for all of her supply, her barber equipment that was in there. So the barber chairs, the mirrors, all of that stuff, we bought that from her and worked out a payment plan with her to pay for that. So just being resourceful, y'all, being creative and negotiating those deals. So bam, I'm back in business. That's official business number 3. Obviously, I'm not talking about all the little fly by night stuff I was doing in between. But this is my official third business right here. This business was called Pro Cuts and Styles LLC. Like I said, I partnered with my boy Ike on that. And so we running that. I think we did that business for probably about 9 months. And after a while, we just couldn't do it anymore because we only had that one barber the whole time. Every time we found another stylist, and she was cool, but she was in and out. Like she was a friend of Ike, so it was almost like she was kind of helping us. She make more just doing the half from out of her house because she didn't have to pay for booth rent. So she would come in sometime, but it was like we didn't really charge her to stand the booth rent because she wasn't really in there. So it was like every time we tried to find somebody, and it was a bad location too. It was like in the back of a cut on the street somewhere. So it was like even when I had a chance to get somebody to come up in there, they used to get a little nervous because they didn't want to go back there. But anyway, so I was trying to think of describing it for my local people that watch my channel. It's like right off of George Washington Highway. It's like a cut. It's like some military housing back there now. But anyway, so yeah, so that's what that. So about 9 months I did that. So then I'm on my third or fourth. I'm like on my third year of the shipyard, and I'm like, fuck man, I gotta hurry up and do something because I'm getting tired of being in here. And so that's when I decided, you know what? I went to this workshop. It was a business workshop by the VHCDC. The VHCDC, I recommend that you look them up and go to any events that they having. They have first time home buyer classes. They do business events too. They used to do more business events back then than they do now. And the guy, James Taylor, who I'm familiar with, shout out to him. He was one of the people too that gave me a chance to clean his house. So one of the few house cleaning jobs that I had, he gave me that. And I met him through his business workshop. But anyway, at one of the business workshops, I asked him. Actually, I didn't ask him. I asked a person on this. Yeah, I asked him, and then the person on the side, like validated what he said. I said, if you got a business idea, because at that time I wanted to do a third barbershop, but I also was thinking about, you know what? I am good at cleaning. If I did this cleaning shit all over again, I probably would kill it because I'm better at it now. Because all of those years in between, all the way up to this point, even when I was working at the shipyard, I was still subcontract for cleaners here and there, and they would teach me how to clean better. And so I asked Mr. James Taylor, I said, if you got two business ideas and you don't know which one to do, what would you do? He said, well, which one is gonna make you the most money? That you like, which one's gonna get you money the quickest? I said, the cleaning business. He said, well, go with that one, and then once you get some money, you can do whatever you want to after that. And then as I looked to the lady beside me, at the like we was about to wrap up, and the lady beside me, she was like, all right, you know what you got to do now? Go start that cleaning business. And so that was it right there. So I knew, bam, I'm about to go ahead start me another cleaning business. Now at the time, nobody's on YouTube. I'm the only guy that was on YouTube back then, and even back then, I wasn't in the cleaning industry yet. So my original channel was the Everybody Eats channel. This is not my original channel. They took that other channel away from me eventually, which I might get into as I'm telling this story. And so, but I knew I wanted to start a business because by that time I had just started doing YouTube videos on my other old channel. And it's like I wanted to talk business because I got business experience. I always wanted to be like, help people. I always wanted to say, look, everybody can start a business. All you got to do is this, and this. But the problem was, I was like, damn, I ain't really qualified to talk if I don't own a business. So I knew I had to start one quick. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try the franchise route again because I don't have time to go independent because I got this job. And quite frankly, back then I didn't know how. Right? Clean Biz Network didn't exist. Nobody on YouTube was on here talking about it. At least I wasn't aware of them. And so I was like, fuck, I'm gonna do a franchise again. So I met with all of the franchises again. This time I decided to go with Jam Pro. All right. And so when I got in with Jam Pro, the training was excellent. Shout out to Ted Building. He was the master franchise owner at the time. And I remembered him because of the first time when I bought my franchise with Coverall, I met with him before, and it was like, damn, this dude's still here, so that's a good sign. Then he was even cooler now. It was like you could tell that he was over everything. Like he won't feeing us to death. He won't being petty with it. If you ain't like the price of something, he will work with you on it and try to change it, renegotiate it for you. He was real open about it. And so he taught me how to clean real. Like he taught me some cleaning tricks too, on top of what all the subcontractors was teaching me. And yeah, man. So I decided let's roll with it. So he trained me good. I got my first few contracts. He gave me like a few small ones first to get started. Great reviews on all. I was killing. Never got complaints. Right. Then he finally gave me my biggest contract, which was the Usui building, USUI Usui building out there in Chesapeake, which my brother still has that contract to this day, and they just keep adding on more services, right? Because y'all know, so eventually I'm gonna get to this part. But I sold my last cleaning franchise to my brother when he came home from prison, but I will get there. But anyway, so with that company, this is company number 4 now, right? So we got cleaning business, 2 barbershops, second cleaning business, 4th business, all right? And this company is called A&A Solutions, which I named after my kids, Amaya and Anthony, right? Or Lil AJ, as we call them. And so, all right, so we rolling now. I got, contracts coming in. We building up. Eventually, I hit 6 figures quick as a bitch. And then they nominated me for the Franchise Owner of the Year award. And so the way that works is each individual master franchise location submits it up to corporate. And then corporate comes out and interview the candidates that I picked in each locality. And then they vote. And then they had this huge, big gathering conference or whatever every year that only select franchise owners and master franchise owners are invited to. And then they announce them and all of that. And so I had won the franchise owner honorable mention award, which means that I was a top 10 franchise owner out of the whole world because they got Jam Pro franchise all over the world. They told me it was like 10,000 other franchise owners, and I won over all of those. I was top 10 amongst those other 10,000. And so they told me, the reason why I didn't win the franchise owner of the year is because I didn't make enough, right? Because I told you I had just hit 6 figures, and 6 figures, that's nothing. That's what, like 83 a month. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's rich. But for that first year, it was great. And they didn't see they weren't used to nobody growing at that rate because of unit franchise owners. Most people they ain't really they treat it like a job. You know what I mean? I treated it like a business. So, but what really helped me to get that award was the fact that by that time, my YouTube channel had built I think I had about maybe 10,000 subscribers on my old channel back then at that point. I had my book out, my book called Is It a Scam? The Truth About Commercial Cleaning Franchises. And it was something else I did too. And then if you combine all of those things, I can't remember what the other thing was, but if you combine all of those things, it was like, damn, this guy, like he is killing it. And not to mention, my YouTube videos back then used to be centered around I recommend a cleaning franchise to help you get money, right? Because that was all I knew back then. And so it was helping them to get more franchise sales. So they were loving my stuff, right? Today they probably don't love it so much, right? But yeah, so that's where I was at on that. And trying to remember where I was at. Yeah, I'm pulling out to the house now. I gotta get ready to take my son to basketball practice. So I'm gonna try to speed this story up. But anyway, so everything's good. Franchise Owner of the Year, honorable mention award. It's all going great. I think that was in 2016. My award is sitting. If you go to Virginia Beach franchise office, you'll see it right there right now. And then you'll also be seeing it in my video sometime in the back in my office, right? Because I got a copy and they got a copy. And so that's that. I got a video on YouTube as well showing y'all why you can see me in my old Jam Pro shirt and me opening up the package and my wife sitting there recording me. Shout out to Gina, always by my side. And yeah, so all of this is documented, by the way. If you go back to all my old videos. But anyway, so that's that. Everything's going great. Fast forward from about 2016 to around about shit, it didn't take long at all. That was 2017. I was like, I was done. I was kind of tired. I was burnt out because even though I knew systems, I knew how to implement them. Y'all know how I go. You get out the field a little bit, but then you got to go back in. Then you need some money, so you about. It's like I was kind of in and out of the field, and then it's like you got to remember I started when I was 17 in this industry cleaning. I just been hustling for a while now. I had quit the job at the shipyard, and this was my only source of income. Actually, it wasn't my only source. I eventually got a rental property. I had a YouTube check coming in. I had my book that was selling. So I had other sources of income, but I was just starting to get burned out. Then some people broke in our crib. We had moved to the project. So we had we bought a house in Portsmouth, but then we turned it into a rental property, moved out, and then we moved to the projects, income-based housing, right? And it's like, damn. So now we in the projects. While I'm out there, though, guess what? I'm flashy at the time. I'm thinking I'm a young boss or whatever, thinking I'm Jay-Z, right? And so I bought my wife this Range Rover. I'm driving around this big white pretty Cadillac STS, and we in the fucking projects. So everywhere we go, we drawing attention. You know what I mean? Everybody knew I owned my company or whatever because we used to have a magnet on the side of the car too. And it just and I was kind of popular on Facebook, you know, for my local area, right? And so everybody knew me as the Get Money Business cleaning guy, right? And so after drawing that attention for me, eventually somebody broke in the crib, and that's when I knew I was already getting tired anyway with the business, and it was just like I was starting to feel like, damn, maybe I made a horrible mistake with quitting my job. But it's like I ain't going back. Fuck that. So what we decided was after they broke in our crib, you know what, we moving to Atlanta. I ain't taking this no more. So we started visiting Atlanta a couple of times, looking for places to stay and all of that. And I just got lucky. Somebody randomly saw one of my YouTube videos. And again, you don't get lucky unless you put yourself in a position to get lucky. But anyway, and the position I put myself in was putting myself out here on YouTube. That's why I tell y'all, get paid to be you. Put yourself out there. But anyway, somebody commented on my video, and she was the master franchise owner from out of Las Vegas, ironically. And she said that I love your videos. I love the way you like your mentality. Da da da. I think you would make a great salesperson on my team. She left this right in my comments. And she said, email her. So I emailed her. We talked about it, whatever. And I was going to take the job and just move to Vegas. Like, fuck it. I had never left Virginia at that time other than for like Georgia. You know, basically, I never left the East Coast, rather. I say that way. And so, but I was just going up and go. I ain't even had to visit. We was ready to go. My wife been wanting to leave Virginia altogether anyway, her whole life. So uh, I was going to take it. But she was like, well, let me see your franchise agreement first to make sure there's no type of non-compete or anything. And so after she read through it, went over it and everything, she said, you know what? You can't do it. But guess what? When as this was happening, she told me to talk to my master franchise owner in order to get the non-compete documents and send it over. So when I got it from him, I explained to him what I was doing. So at that time, he was like, well, wait a minute, before you take that, let me offer you a job. I didn't know that you would take a job. You know what I mean? So he was like, let me do that. So I told him straight, I said, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would take that job over anything you offer just because I don't want to be here anymore. We ready to move. You know what I mean? Our house just got broken into. My car's had just got repoed by that time too. And it was just like everything was starting to look bad. You know what I mean? It was falling apart. And then um and I left that part out. Why the fuck was we losing money and all that if I'm growing this business, whatever? Well, what happened was I started selling off my contracts, individual contracts to other franchise owners because we thought we were moving to Atlanta. So I was selling them off to get the money to move to Atlanta. Well, guess what happened? The damn foundation at the rental property that we had just failed. So I had to replace the whole floor and fix the foundation, all of that. And it took all of the money that I had just made from selling the account. So now I had I think I went from like 23 accounts to down to like 7 or 8 accounts. So I had less income coming in. My car just got repoed. We thought we were going to Atlanta, but we can't now. And everything was just a mess. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm ready to take a job and move. So I forgot to make sure I didn't leave that part out. And so um then the Jam Pro master franchise owner, shout out to Jay Deal, who took over for Ted Builder. He was like, he just anyway, because I said he just sold too, by the way. But So Jay offered me a position to work for him, and I was like, I wouldn't take it. But he said, well, hold on. So he said he called JanPro Corporate and told them the situation. JanPro Corporate scheduled a call with their board of directors, and myself, and they called little old me in the fucking projects and basically asked me, where do you want to move? Where you want to live? Because they got locations everywhere. Where you want to live? And I told them, well, keep me on the East Coast, and I would prefer as a warm climate. And I wanted to stay on the East Coast so that way I could still keep my cleaning franchise at the time. When I thought that if I said keep me on the East Coast and keep me in a warm climate, that they would automatically move me to Atlanta where I was trying to get to anyway. Well, instead, what happened was they suggested Jacksonville, Florida instead. And so I was kind of disappointed, but at the same time, I liked it because I did always think to myself, Florida would be cool because they got no state tax and that is always hot, and I love hot. I can't do cold. And so I said, fuck it, we'll try it. So they introduced me to the guy, Justin Calley, who owned the three Jam Pro locations here in Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, and West Palm Beach area. And so met with that guy. He put me through the interview with nothing. He told me I got the job. Just come down there and meet him, basically do punch with him and his sales guy. So long story short, I took the job. They moved us down here to Jacksonville. I kept my cleaning franchise in Virginia, so now I'm fucking back. I got a set salary now as an operations manager and slash franchise consultant here in Jacksonville, Florida at the Jam Pro location. I'm also running my cleaning business remotely while still in Virginia. My brother, I put him in charge, and we doing our thing. Everything is on the up and up. I moved to a gated community off top, and it was just the shit. It was night and day. We went from the projects to a fucking gated community. I still own my company. I still own my property. I had this fucking great job. Like, we in business now. If you look at my videos, you'll see when it was. I was always dressed up every day. I was in that white car, right? Because when my cars got repoed, I had to go get a regular old Toyota Corolla, something that was reliable, that was gonna run, and it worked, right? And so that's what we did. Time went on though, as the Jam Pro guy and as the operations manager, as well as as the operations manager, my number one job was to be customer retention. I had to basically make sure all customers were happy, do inspections, and keep these customers on long term. Well, also as a franchise consultant, I was in charge of training the franchise owners, teaching them how to run their business, how to clean, and all of that. So I was the middleman between the customers and the franchise owners. All right. So now it's like after a while, I started to feel like I wasn't being, I, I, I felt morally wrong because I was in a situation where I would have to take contracts from certain franchise owners and resell them to other franchise owners because these franchise owners weren't doing their job. Which, I mean, I get it. I get the model, but it still used to make me feel bad. And sometimes it was over my head where I didn't want to take it from the person, but my boss would say, you got to. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? So it used to eat me up. And then I used to see a lot of the fees I didn't agree with. The way the way we used to bid, I didn't agree with a lot of times, and I felt like we were underbidding, but that was the way I was trained to do it, and I was kind of new to everything. So anyway, I made the decision that, like, you know what, I'm gonna quit. I'm quitting. I'm leaving. So I did quit, but then after about 3 months, I ended up going back because I realized I couldn't afford to quit yet. You know what I mean? So I ended up going back, and it was good for me to go back because I didn't still get enough experience yet. So I think I was there for like 6 months. No, it might have been like 4 months, and then I quit. And then when I went back, I stayed for another 6 months. So a total of like a year, almost about a year, I was with them. Right? No, it was longer than that. I think I stayed there for. I think for a total, I was with them for like a year and a half. But either way, I was with them for a while. And so the good thing though, when I went back and actually stayed and did it and put that work in, like they put me through floor care training. I didn't know nothing about floors. I back at that point I couldn't even tell you the difference between a ceramic tile floor and a VCT floor and a vinyl floor because the way I used to run my company was I only accepted carpeted buildings. Every now and then I'll make an exception if Janpro really wanted me to rescue an account. But I only accepted carpeted building floors because I always used to get complaints with hard floor buildings because I didn't know nothing about them. But once I got to working for Janpro directly, they would put me through all of this training, educate me on what floor care. They showed me how to inspect buildings better than I knew how to do it at first. They taught me how to manage a huge amount of accounts because I went from, I told y'all at my peak I had like 23 accounts of my own. When I started working for them, I managed like, I think it was like, it might have been like 500 accounts in total, because we had like, it was like our important ones and then our smaller ones. And the important ones, it was like 200 and something of those. And the small ones like 300 and something accounts. So I was in charge of that whole thing by myself. When I first got here, though, shout out to Mauricio. He was the ops manager, and he would work the nights, I would work the days, and he trained me for the most part. Shout out to Mauricio. He taught me a lot, especially with like how to deal with difficult situations with customers. And he told me never to like give dates and deadlines. Like, oh, I promise you, I'll get this proposal over you today. Don't ever say that. Just say as soon as possible, because you don't want to make yourself a liar if something come up, right? Little stuff like that. But anyway, shout out Mauricio. And so, but eventually they got rid of Mauricio. And honestly, I didn't ever want to admit this, but the truth is they had already planned on getting rid of him anyway once they got me in. They just needed him to train me. So, but they eventually got rid of him. And so I ran this whole damn territory from Jacksonville to Gainesville. And if you know about how far that's about a 2.5 hour ride. So it was a huge area. And I already know Jacksonville is the biggest geographical city in the country. So I'm in this huge city, come from this small city, but I'm in this huge goddamn city now. And I'm just in the middle and I'm getting it and I'm managing it. And they told me that they had the best customer retention rate that they ever had. Sales was up. And I'm doing all of the operations and the training. And then we had the guy Travis, he was doing all of the sales. And so we were just holding it down, just us two. And honestly, that experience right there was when I really ascended and I learned all of the stuff that I'm able to teach y'all now, was because I went from running a low six-figure cleaning company back at home to running a fucking $3 million operation a year here in Jacksonville. And even though I wasn't the owner, I was running it because the owner lived in Orlando. He ran his biggest location there, right? So he pretty much never came up here for real. So it was basically me running the whole thing, and my guy Travis was just selling more. And so I was like, damn. So anyway, I decided, I said, let me tell my whole story, because a lot of y'all don't know that, right? So I'm running this $3 million operation. I still got my cleaning company back home, and that I'm also running from a distance. And basically, it was kind of easy for me to jump into, because I basically just did everything that I did for my company there, but at a higher level. So back home, for my big contracts, I would inspect my big buildings once a week, and for my smaller ones, it'll be like once a month, right? Or once every 2 weeks and something like that. And then but once I got here, it was just like your big buildings you expect once a month, your small ones you expect once a quarter, because it's way more contracts, but it was the same principle. And so, but anyway, like I was saying, fast forward. After a while, I didn't feel right taking that job. I really didn't. I had the way I thought things should be ran was different than the way that they were running it. And then also by that time, I had started selling cleaning business starter kits online, which kind of competes with, the franchise and what they offer. So they just gave me an ultimatum, and they was like, you know what? Either you stop that shit you doing online, or you got to go. I said, well, I guess I'm going. You know what I mean? And I bet on my goddamn self. And ironically, at that time, within like a week span of me walking out of that goddamn job and being scared, not knowing what I'm about to do, something else had happened. Let me hang. I got a call. Hold up. And then also something else that happened when I quit, because I made up my mind. I'm done with the franchise altogether. So not only did I quit the job, guess what else I did? I sold my cleaning company to my brother at the time. Now, when I sold it, it wasn't a lump sum sale. He didn't have the money like that. He had just came home from fucking prison, so he won't balling. So what I did was I seller financed it to him, and he just paid me monthly. And so and then from it, people keep. But it's like, okay, well, I still ain't get a big check, and I got to figure out something to do. So it's like I had the current payments coming in from the sale. I had my little bit of income, rental property income coming in. I had some YouTube money coming in, and then I had a little bit of sales from like starter kits and like an ebook, little stuff, right? But I was not balling at all, and I had no idea like what the fuck am I gonna do. Then I had this genius idea to, what, lead generation, because I always wondered like what I knew that my starter kits was good and all at that time, but I needed, like, the franchise had one up on me because they can get you guaranteed contracts. I couldn't do that. So I'm like, well, what the fuck can I do? And that's when I seen a post in some type of Facebook group. I seen my guy Yak Yak, shout out to him. He had already started hiring cold callers. And I seen he posted it in our Facebook group, because back then he used to own a cleaning company. That's how me and him connected. For those who don't know who Yak Yak is, he's the one who basically brought my brand up from the old ashy stuff it used to be to what it became. right? So shout out to him. He always managed all my media and stuff. And so I saw that post he made about hiring cold callers overseas, and then I saw another post like that in another cleaning group, and I kind of put two and two together, and then I figured out how to do it myself. I wasted some money hiring different cold callers till I finally got the right one, and then it was up from there. You know what I mean? Now, once I got the lead generation service, then I knew I had a legitimate business. Then I went and got Clean Biz Network. I thought of a name, went and got an LLC for it, and built it up from just that. You know what I mean? Up into exactly what it's become today. You know what I mean? So I know this was long winded, but I said, I ain't, and I never actually told the story completely all the way. And obviously, even now, I'm still leaving stuff out because I'm just trying to get through it. And my son, we need to get on the road and hit his basketball practice. But I never really tell my story the whole way through like that. And a lot of y'all have no ideas. Like, who the fuck is this guy? He don't even own a cleaning company anymore. So why is he telling us how to do it and stuff? So another thing too, you might be like, okay, well, when you left Jam Pro, why you didn't just start a cleaning company? Because I definitely didn't. I really didn't know what to do. But the problem was I had a non-compete agreement with them. I had a non-compete agree with two of them. One with the franchise that I had, and then another one with the job that me working for them. And so I ain't gonna lie. At first, me and my wife, and that's why we got content. If you look into the old stuff in Clean Business Network, you'll see me and my wife getting out here going door to door here in Florida. And we was like, fuck it, we gonna get our contract, we gonna get it. But then I got scared and I was like, you know what? I don't think we should do it because I know that typically the franchise probably won't gonna sue me and go after me even if I did it on my own. But then I was like, you know what? Because I have heard of them doing it here and there. They don't do it often, but they will do it. That's one. And then two, I said, you know what? Fuck it with me. They damn sure gonna do it because I was the only person on the internet talking about this stuff. And not to mention at that time I was pivoting away from saying go get a franchise to yeah, I'm not so sure about getting a franchise anymore. Just let me teach you what I know. You know what I mean? So I kind of pivoted. And so I said, man, if they catch me doing this shit, they definitely gonna make an example out of me if they don't do it to nobody else. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna follow that 2-year agreement, that 2-year non-compete. I'm not gonna do it. Well, by the grace of God, CBN was successful. And so it's like after starting it, I never really it grows every single year, every single month. And so just like I always intended to start another cleaning company, but this actually became a real company on its own to the point where I didn't have time to start a whole nother company, which would have been a cleaning company. And I always teach y'all focus on that one thing. If something is working, you build it up to as big as it could possibly get built up to, and don't switch. Go deeper. Go deeper. Don't go wider. Go deeper because you don't know how far I can go. And that's how you get Amazons and WalMarts and Microsofts and Apples because those CEOs were locked in on that one fucking company. They weren't trying to do all this other shit. And that's all our biggest problem. We get that shiny object syndrome and think, oh, I got to get into crypto. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do credit repair. I got to do Airbnb turnovers, and I got to do not turnover, but Airbnb, arbitrage or whatever. You get you all these Turo and all this other bullshit. When it's like, no, all you need to do is this one business right here, right? And so it's like, honestly, if I could have done it all over again, I definitely would have just stuck with my one cleaning company, and I wouldn't. I mean, I go back and forth on if I would have did with the franchise or not, because I did learn a lot from that experience, right? And it's like again, it's easy for y'all, like, because I see so many of y'all do it, but at the same time, I don't give myself enough credit when it's like, yeah, well, of course they're doing it, AJ, because you giving out all of the goddamn game, so it's easier for them to do it. Back when I was trying to do it, won't nobody out here giving this away like this. You know what I mean? Telling you how to do it independently and what to do step by step by step. So you know what I mean? Clean Business Network didn't exist. I had to make it so people wouldn't have to go through the bullshit that I went through. You know what I mean? And so that's pretty much it, man. That's my story up and from then to now, right? And I left some stuff out from the beginning. I left a little bit of stuff out on the way, and then obviously I'm leaving out stuff that was like past me building Clean Business Network because it's so much more, right? But I just decided, I'm gonna hop up here and I'm gonna tell my story, y'all, for those who didn't know. So now you know what's going on, and I ain't gonna lie. I'm definitely itching to get some more contract. I do got one contract right now. I bought that contract from a Clean Business Network member because she was moving from Jacksonville to Orlando. And so I was like, well, hell, I'll just buy that contract from you so you can move in peaks and you got to worry about trying to manage it from so far at such a small size. So I got that one medical contract and that check hit every single month. I had that for probably might have been 2 years now. That check hit on time every month. I love it. Just mailbox money, just be sitting at every what? 10th of the month or something like no, every 15th of the month, that check be just sitting right on my office floor because they put it through the little drop slot. And I'm like, damn, I sure could use a lot more of these, but it's like I'm too busy working on all these other projects. Y'all see all the different things I'm always adding and doing. And so it's like until I systemize all of this, I can't go add another thing. But I'm definitely itching to get back out here and I'm gonna document the process too. So y'all gonna see me going door to door, doing the walkthroughs, all of that. Because I also want to have some money that's not online. You know what I mean? Because it ain't nothing like that offline money, especially that mailbox money that you get with commercial cleaning and recurring contracts. Ain't nothing like that shit. Ain't gonna lie. And I know too much not to do it. It's like, why wouldn't I do it? So anyway, that's my whole story, y'all. And honestly, that's why I'm the cleaning business GOAT. You know what I mean? Because I did it all. You know, I done this shit and I built this shit from the ground up to here. And I helped thousands, y'all, tens of thousands of people all over the world. I don't care who it is, and people were admitting it. I finally starting to admit it. And I used to like, you know what I mean? Some of these guys try to act like I didn't exist. Like I don't care who you are. You started. Hold up, about to get it. I'm gonna call it. Started this business since 2014. You saw at least one AJ Simmons goddamn video that helped you. And ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. And if you didn't, then you just didn't do your due diligence because I've been out here and if you search cleaning business, my shit gonna come up. So that's why I'm the cleaning business GOAT. And I think that you should work with me if you want to get started. So if you do want to get started or if you just want to grow your company, because we help you do both, go to www.cleanbiznetwork.com, click the join button, join us. And if you want to schedule a call with me before you join and ask a quick question, schedule a call. The calendar is right up there. But you definitely should join us. We got so many different resources, not just a coaching company, it's also a software company. So we got a janitorial management software that does anything that you need your commercial cleaning company to do. All right. Now, if you're residential cleaning, it's going to be a little bit of things that we don't have, like, for example, the scheduling part with the housing and all of that. We don't really got that part for you. But for the most part, all of the stuff that I teach is pretty much transferable information for the most part. And then even the stuff that I don't have, that's what we got a network for. That's why we Clean Biz Network, because we got so many other people in the group that know stuff as well, and they can tell you how to do stuff even when I might not know or I might take so long. You know what I mean? And that's a difference too about when you buy a coaching program versus you just trying to sit here and watch, somebody YouTube videos to death all day and piece it together yourself. It's like you can't just, hey, AJ, you said this part right here. How do I do this part? You know what I mean? You can tag me inside that private Facebook group that come with Clean Biz Network, and I'll hop on there. And most of the time, I even reply to you in a video reply. Then we also got other people that's looking right at the question. They'll chime in as well and get their expertise. So Clean Biz Network is legendary, y'all. I think you should be in it if you're not in there already. Join us, www.cleanbiznetwork.com. Hope y'all enjoyed the story time. And if y'all did, if y'all want to hear him, I gotta repeat it because I don't know if the call. If y'all want to hear him, let me know. Drop it in the comment, and I'll start talking more long-term, long-form stories like this. But I clearly got to go because they keep blowing me up, and I got to take my son back for practice. But I'm AJ Simmons, the Clean Business GOAT, founder of Clean Biz Network. Make sure you check us out, www.cleanbiznetwork.com or cleanbiznetwork.app, either or. But I'm out of here. Thank y'all for watching.